If I was building a business from scratch in 2026, these are two forms of leverage that I will learn immediately: credit and AI. And I know those sound like two completely different subjects, but trust, just stay with me, because one helps you stop depending completely on your own time, and the other helps you stop completely depending on your own money. And when I really started to look at how I'm building my own business, I realized something. Credit gives you financial leverage, AI gives you operational leverage. And as an entrepreneur, just understanding both can completely change the way you think about building a business, just in general. And in this video, I want to break down what I mean by that, why I've been getting deeper into AI lately, and why I'm definitely not walking away from educating people about credit. Because for me, these two things actually connect. But before I get into it, if you're new here, I just want to introduce myself. So my name is George Gaddis, Mr. Chosen by Credit himself, and I'm the founder of the Leverage the Legacy brand, and I educate entrepreneurs on how to better understand credit, position themselves to access capital, and use leverage strategically in their business. And lately, I've been going a little deeper into AI automations and business systems, because I'm seeing another level of leverage entrepreneurs really need to understand. So if you're interested in credit, capital, AI, entrepreneurship, and building a smarter business, you are definitely in the right place. Now let me start with something I already know I love talking about: credit. So first, let me make something clear. I love credit. I love educating people about credit. I love breaking down the difference between having a good credit score and actually having a strong credit profile. I love helping entrepreneurs understand that credit can actually be more than something that you can use to buy a car or get a house. Because used responsibly and strategically, credit become a powerful financial tool. One of the biggest mindset shifts I try to teach is this: stop looking at credit only as debt, and really start understanding credit as leverage. Now that does not mean apply for everything you can get approved for. It doesn't mean max out credit cards, and it definitely doesn't mean borrow money you don't have your own plan, or you don't have any plans to pay back or repay. That's not leverage. That's what you call recklessness. Real leverage is understanding, your financial position, understanding the cost of capital, knowing what you're using the money for, and knowing whether that capital can actually help move the business forward and not backwards. Because if you're an entrepreneur and everything you want to do requires you to save cash, growth can become extremely slow for you, extremely slow. Maybe you need money for, marketing, your equipment, inventory, hiring, expansion. There are situations where having access to capital can allow a business just to move faster. That's what credit do. It helps you move faster. But here's the part people miss. Access to capital does not automatically make you a good entrepreneur. You can get $50,000 and waste $50,000. You could get $100,000 and still have a bad business. So capital isn't only one side of leverage. And that's where my thinking started expanding. So the deeper, I've gotten into AI and systems and automations, the more I realized money isn't the only resource entrepreneurs need to leverage. Your time is a resource. Your attention is a resource. Your team is a resource. Your data is a resource. And one of the, I'm going to say, biggest problems I see with small businesses is the owner being involved in any and everything. A new lead comes in, a owner responds. Somebody books an appointment, a owner have to send a reminder. Somebody doesn't show up to the appointment, the owner has to be the one to follow up. New customer come in, a owner handles the onboarding. Customers done ask the same question you answer 50 times. And guess what? As the owner, you answer it again. And eventually, the business owner says, man, I need more employees. Maybe, but sometimes you don't need another employee yet. Sometimes you just need a better process. You need systems. And sometimes AI and automations can support that process and those systems for you. That's what has gotten me so interested, because I started really looking at AI differently. Don't just, look at AI like, hey, Chat GBT, write me a caption. That's cool and all, but that's just surface level. I'm asking questions like, let me think for a minute. Can AI help me qualify leads? How can automation improve follow up? How can a CRM organize the customer journey for me? How can AI help me with repetitive communication? How can those systems improve onboarding? Now we're talking about operational leverage. And this is where credit and AI really started to connect for me. For me now. So just imagine entrepreneur gets themselves, properly positioned for capital. That's great and all. But let's say they get access to money and decide to put it into the business. Maybe, they increase their marketing. More marketing creates more leads. More leads creates more follow-up. More customers create more onboarding. More customers create more communication. And more business creates more responsibility. So if you inject money into a business with bad systems, sometimes you don't fix the problem. You just amplify the problem. And that's something entrepreneurs really need to understand. Because everybody talks about, scaling. Everybody wants to scale. But here's the truth about that. Here's the honest truth about scaling a broken a process. It just gives you a bigger broken process. That's all it do. So before you start throwing money into your business, ask yourself, if twice as many customers came into my business right now or tomorrow, could my business actually handle them? Could you follow up? Could you onboard them? Could you communicate effectively with them? Could you track where they are? Could you deliver what you actually promised to them? If the answer is no, capital isn't your only problem. You have an operations problem. And that's where AI comes in at. That's where systems comes in at. That's where processes comes in at. Now let's look at AI from from the other side. You absolutely can build a business without AI. People have been building businesses forever without artificial intelligence. So I'm not saying AI is some magical requirement for success or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we know we have technology that can help businesses perform certain tasks much faster than they was, or if they didn't have the systems. Organize information better, automate repetitive processes and support the people running the business. And I think entrepreneurs who completely ignore that are going to make certain parts of the business harder than they need to be. So just think about it like this. One company gets a lead and they take a full day to respond. Another company has a system that immediately acknowledges the lead, gather the information, the basic information, routes them correctly, and reminds the team to follow up. Which company has the operational leverage? Probably the one with the better system. And notice what I did not say. I didn't say replace everybody with AI. That's not the point. The point is actually using technology to free people up for the work humans are actually valuable for, such as relationships, strategy, sales, leadership, creative thinking. You feel what I'm saying? Those are better uses of your time than manually just doing the same repetitive tasks every single day. So here's the entrepreneur I'm personally trying to become. I don't know about you, but this is who I'm trying to become. And honestly, this is part of what I'm going to start talking about more on this channel. I want to understand, how do I position myself financially? That's credit. How do I access capital responsibly? That's funding. How do I use capital strategically? That's business. And how do I build systems so everything doesn't respond on or doesn't depend on me? That's automation. How do I use AI to improve those systems? Guess what? That's technical, logical leverage. Now you really thinking differently. You're not just asking, how can I work harder? You're not asking yourself that. You asking, what can I actually create leverage for myself? And that's really what leverage the legacy means to me, creating leverage. Leverage can come from, your credit, capital, technology, systems, just knowledge in general. The question is, what are you doing with it? That's the main question. What are you doing with it? Because leverage can actually magnify, the good decisions, but leverage can also magnify the bad decisions. And that's why strategy actually matters. And I want to be very transparent about where I am with AI. I'm not about to come on here pretending I've been building AI systems for 15 years. I'm learning. This is a learning journey for me. I just got AI certified. So I'm implementing, I'm experimenting, I'm building things inside my own business. So I'm actually doing the work and I'm actually utilizing it. I'm looking at, areas like, lead management, CRM, automations, AI assistants, customer follow-up. And my approach is just very simple. You build it, you use it, you test it, you understand it, then you teach what actually works. And that's how I want to approach AI, because we've all seen people discover something Monday and suddenly they become an expert by Wednesday. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm interested in actually becoming, extremely good at understanding how entrepreneurs can use both financial leverage and technological leverage to actually build a stronger business. And as I learn it and implement it, I'm going to document, the journey here. So if you're an entrepreneur and you watching this, here's something that I want you to do. Just take out, a sheet of paper, create, 2 columns. At the top of one column, write capital. Then at the top of the other, write time. And under capital, ask yourself, where is lack of money actually restricting my business? Maybe it's marketing. Maybe it's equipment. Maybe it's inventory, hiring or just expansion. Then ask yourself, will access to capital actually solve this problem? Or am I trying to borrow money to actually fix something that isn't really a problem, actually really isn't a money problem? That's an important question. Now go to the time column and write down all the repetitive things you or your team do every week. Maybe it's follow-up. Maybe it's scheduling, sending reminders, onboarding, just answering repetitive questions in general. Then circle the ones that happen over and over again. Those are the areas with better systems, automation or AI, or maybe able to create leverage for you and your team. So now you thinking like an operator, not just somebody chasing funding, not somebody chasing every new AI tool that actually comes out. You asking a much better question. What does my business actually need leverage? That's the conversation, I want more entrepreneurs having. Cause it really does matter and it's very important. So yes, you're still going to hear me talk about credit. You're still going to hear me talk about funding. You're also going to hear me talk more about AI, automation, systems and entrepreneurship just in general. Because I'm realizing that just, building wealth and building businesses isn't simply about getting access to more money. It's about, learning how to leverage the resources that you already, is already available to you. Credit can create financial leverage for you. AI, can create operational leverage for you, like I mentioned. And when you really learn how to use leverage responsibly, strategically, and intentionally, that's when you can start building something bigger than another job for yourself. And that's what Leverage the Legacy is about. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're interested in learning more about credit, again, capital, AI, and using leverage to build a smarter business, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel, because we're going much deeper into all of it. But I'm going to catch you in the next video. Appreciate you for tuning in.